Forex market watch list and portfolio breakdown. That's what's on the menu today. I want to go right ahead and dive in. As far as the watch list go, we have one pending trading opportunity in the pipeline, and that would be the USD versus the the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, that is USD CHF. The technical situation is compelling because we've seen price action last month, just before the end of the month, pull back hard just to close the monthly bar slightly below 88.22. I think that's a big statement as far as the dollar Swiss goes. I think there's a potential downside reversal right around the corner. Price action came out, this week, right off the bat's coming up. But the minute it starts to establish itself back below 88.22, if that happens, of course, that's going to be our cue to pull the trigger. Simple. We already got that pullback from last month suggesting a downside reversal is in the making. Nevertheless, it's the timing that is even more important than the actual, direction prediction, right? So if we want to zero in on the timing, we need to wait for price action to slide back below 88.22. I have a feeling it will be the case, right? But we need to make sure that's the case. So the minute we see the daily chart, even on the daily scale, once we have price action sliding below 88.22, closing the daily bar below that area, that's probably going to be good enough for us to jump into position. We're talking about a short position. Here, it's the blue system that's in play, right? So the minute price action establishes itself below 88.22, we'll start a short position, a bearish campaign, targeting two levels. The short-term target would be 86.73, where the medium-term target is going to be 85.06. That's also going to be the final destination for us with this particular situation. Let's move on to the portfolio breakdown, guys. Here we have three active positions that were established in the last 24 hours. The first one is the pound versus the US dollar. We already had quite a lot of success here, sliding down all the way to 25. When price action started to turn around, we jumped out when it hit that 25.50, and we decided to take the back seat, at least for a little while, until we feel confident enough to jump back in, because at the end of the day, it was a big move that we were expecting here, all the way down to 23. So we decided to pull the trigger again and jump back into position, starting with a small size position, just the first trade with the pound dollar. Don't forget, as far as the pound dollar goes, we had confirmation for a breakdown below 28.81 with the closing month a few days ago. 10 days ago that was. And now I feel like we're looking at the continuation of that move, right? And this is the range. The range it's been trading at was started off around July 2023. So that's quite an old trading range that price is trading in. And it was just coming off the top, the last line of resistance. I'm talking about 2-3 months ago. And it's on its way towards the lower section. So that's what we're expecting here over the near future. Another position we have is the Australian dollar versus the New Zealand dollar, also known as Aussie Nosy. And here I like to mostly present the big picture situation, monthly chart. It's quite interesting situation here because this one, price has been trading back and forth in this defined range ever since late 2022, right? It's been trendless for 2 years, just back and forth, and it's now coming off the top, right? And I'm talking about the big key level system. That's the black system, black 4 lines. So the downside potential is all the way to 106.15. It's quite a move. potentially. Now there is a second range that it started to trade in, a smaller scale range. It started to trade in around early May, so about 6 months. And that was captured by this blue system, the blue key level system, 4 blue lines, and you can see how price action is pulling back off 111.02, and it's not the first time, right? It's actually the second time it does that. It did that back in July. It was trying to penetrate, got that rejection, pulled back down, went straight to the lower section of that range, 107.94, made contact, and went straight up all the way again to test that 111.02, and you can see what happened. Again, that same rejection, again that pullback suggesting a downside reversal. But what I like about this situation is the alignment between the medium-term cycle and the long-term cycle. They're both in prime location right now, right? Medium-term cycle represented by the blue system. We're talking about a downside reversal back to 107.94. That's what we're focusing on. Nevertheless, the long-term cycle, the one that I've mentioned trading sideways for 2 years now, is also at the upper section and starting to turn around. So long-term perspective, the downside potential, like I said a couple of minutes ago, is 106.15, right? But for now, all eyes are on that 107.95 because that's really what's imminent and that's really what's around the corner for us. You can see we pulled the trigger already twice. So we started off yesterday with the first trade. We saw, we came back like 8 hours later and we saw price action was starting to come off. So that gave us that confidence to pull the trigger the second time, so doubling up our position size. We're going to keep it as is for now. The minute price action is starting to slide below 109.56 and slightly below 109.41, these two key levels here, that's going to be a strong indication that we're on the right track, and that's where we're going to get more aggressive. All right, tripling up, quadrupling up, and so forth. Target 107.94 or 95 if you want to round it up just a little bit more. Last position is the Canadian Japanese yen, and this should be familiar because we've been here, I believe that was about maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago, and price action was really on the top here and was starting to turn around. I was here talking about the Canadian Japanese yen downside potential. As it, the minute it started to break below 110.31, that was our trigger level. We got in and we chased 108.20. We knocked off that target, so that was a very successful bearish campaign. Nevertheless, we also we were aware of more downside potential over the longer term, right? And for that, to participate in that particular move, we needed a break below 107.20 right here and 107.30. These two levels were acting like a unit of support, and that unit of support was cracked last week with the weekly breakdown confirmation. Take a look at the close, 106.79. What I also like about the situation here is the confirmation that we got for that breakdown, because if you think about it, today price action was already testing that area from below. Right off the bat was coming up, making contact, trying to cross back above, but you can see what happened. It bounced off and turned negative. So that's literally a confirmation of this breakdown being legit. Now, as you can see, we have two trades here already. Right, the first one we fired off as price action was coming back up. I'm talking about today, right? And getting that rejection, starting to pull back. That was our sign to jump in. We pulled the trigger the first time, and then the negative momentum was starting to pick up, right? So that gave us the confidence to fire off the second trade, doubling up our position size. But yeah, this move is in its early stages. We're talking about the target of 103.40, representing 300 pips in the pipeline. Take a look at the weekly chart. This is how it looks like. All right, we started our interest with this downside move started off when pricing was here turning around at the top, and now we're literally entering the second stage of this downside move. First stage knocked off, check. Now the second stage begins, and 103.40 is going to be our primary target and final destination. Last thing before we wrap this up, stop loss level is at 108.70, and that's all we got for you guys. That's what we have on our plate, 3 active positions. That's about that for the day. Hope you enjoyed this video today, guys. We're wishing you a nice trading day. We'll see you back tomorrow. Take care.